Hey, everybody. I thought I had this on the song that I wanted, and I actually don't. And I started the show. Um, I thought I'd play a little bit of, music before I got started. I got so many songs now that I actually um have a pl- playlist of things on it. So here we go. This is what I want to play. We'll start it off with this song. Oh, no, that's not it. Wrong one. Here it is.
I wish that I could know why you decided to show, why you didn't just go, why you still call her Jane Doe. She was 13, not yet 16, not even a tween. Friends said it would be funny if she met Epstein. He got a gig for the weekend, said she could bring a friend, said he needed someone who looked young, a blonde and a wig. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And the friends thought it was harmless, so she went with a friend. And they said they all met a nice man, and his name was Prince Andrew. And she thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she met a girl named Katie Johnson, and she looked just like me. And they thought it was harmless, so they went with their friend. And I thought it was harmless, so I went with my friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was.
So I thought about today. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to come on and talk a little bit and kind of just recap stuff that has been going on throughout the week and everything. And let me stop the share here. I'm going to come back to playing a little bit more music in and out, music I've created, music that kind of fits the narrative of things that I've been talking about on my channel. I wrote some songs. Well, I wrote it with AI. I put in some stuff and did some songs for Max Spears on the celebration, remembering him in 2025, that live stream that I did a few days ago. And I also posted those songs, for people to listen to if they want, more specifically for Vanessa Bates, because she did come, who's Max's mom. She did come into the chat that evening, and there was a couple songs, one specifically that really moved her. And you know what? I'll play that here in just a bit when I recap on some of the music. I'm having fun with Suno and making up songs. And so I think I highly recommend that if you are doing songs using that software. I know that some of you guys, Pootie's here, and Pootie does quite a few songs about David Schurter. And so let's talk about David a little bit here, because he is somebody that I did want to bring up in the conversation. Obviously, he's not the entire focus of this particular broadcast, but when you have somebody on the internet, that on YouTube, that is making allegations. He's made awful allegations about me. Says that I am a child trafficker, child murderer, a pedophile protector, a Nazi, pedophile. Like the list of what David Schurter says about me is quite extensive, and he includes me with a growing list of people that are responsible for how do I say it? Responsible for the demise of Isaac Cappy. And I never knew Isaac Cappy. I knew of him because I was in a media that he was a part of the dialogue of. And so I was aware of him, although I never knew him personally. And now he is saying that I'm part of just yesterday, I'm part of the people who has passed out or made the flyers that were disseminated in Harlan, Iowa. And I guarantee you that I have been in Fresno, California this entire time. And my focus in life has been, to graduate from college and then get ready to go into the MFA program for creative nonfiction writing. And I'm working on all of my social media platforms, uploading content, writing on Substack, creating an online presence as a writer, and getting ready to get hired in the industry. And I am currently hired. I will be a senior reporter for the Collegian at Fresno State while I'm attending college. So I will be working I'm a student reporter, but I'm on staff. Like, I'm getting paid for it. Like, that now is my job, just so if everybody wants to be out there. I know there's people out there tagging my employment to smear me, what they think is my employment, or what they think is going to irritate me. By the way, so what? I mean, when you're talking about a journalist, it's expected that people are going to throw mud or do whatever. It's part of the business. So, and even the things, even the graphics that they show and tag with, by the way, Sophia Music did it too. I mean, there's a whole group of people that do it, and they're just doing it to irritate me. Like, they want me to talk about it. Like, they want me to talk about it like I'm talking about it right now. I mean, that's the purpose of it. It's like having a fly fall through the window and you're trying to eat, but it wants to keep landing on your food. It wants to get in your space. And that's kind of how I look at them, like low level, like, flies flying around. Is it, what they do. It's just like, really, like, but it does happen. It is happening because, my thought is, fine. If you don't like my politics, if you don't like what I have to say, if you don't like what I have to report, maybe about you specifically, that is a given right, really. I mean, look what David Schurter's doing on his channel. He is like lying about people, basically, making false allegations without showing any type of receipt to explain the defamation, and then to like do commentary on that, or commentary on people tagging you, this or that, or this happening, is not harassment. I mean, when does a person get to speak out about a false allegation that somebody is saying about them in the public domain, in the virtual town square, in what you would consider to be like, X, or if it's YouTube or whatever it is? I mean, even President Trump is posting against the allegations that are happening to him, or suing the Wall Street Journal. Like, all of these things, like, if the president can do it, if it's an American thing to be able to go out and speak out against what somebody is saying to you. Pooty is saying that David is employed. YouTube is being directed to let him slide, just like the Redditors were being paid by USAID. I don't know if I can really confirm something like that. I will say that, considering the things that David has been saying about people, I am really kind of shocked that he is still allowed to be on YouTube. It's been super frustrating to deal with it, and my feeling is that YouTube really hasn't done its due diligence in what David does. I'm gonna admit, I report right now. I report David Schurter daily at the moment. I have the time to do it because I'm in between working, and I'm going to start working next month. I'll go back to school next month. I'm going to start to get really busy again. So I'm trying to maximize and take care of some of the things that's happening to me with a lot of people on a legal level. So, I'm not talking about it, but, there is like reporting and a strategy in protecting myself, not only in terms of, like, let's say, stalking or cyber stalking, or defamation or online harassment by a group, right? But I'm trying to go within every avenue of rectifying the situation, and that avenue isn't necessarily doing video after video after video after video after this person, because all he's going to do is flip that around. Even if you're making a post, and by the way, let me just share this with you. I'm going to go to my X, because David, in his video yesterday, here's what's happened. He is telling people, and I'm sure like a lot of you guys already know this, but I'm assuming that everybody that comes to my channel, and watches my content, they do not come here just to listen to what's happening between me and David Schurter. I do a variety of things, and and my channel isn't necessarily about David Schurter. However, he is adjacent to a lot of the subscribers that I have that come to my channel. They know Max Spears. A lot of people know Max Spears, and or the Super Soldier Topic, that I guess mainly in terms of UFOlogy. I suppose I'm more slanted towards that area at the moment. And so I come from that. Sarah Rachel Adams, David Wilcock, Captain Mark Richards. I did a lot of things on, showing who Captain Mark Richards really is. And a lot of the grifting lies that happen in the UFO community. That's how I came on this channel, on this thing that I do. And and a lot of the people that are here also do remember me being on Lift the Veil, which, Nathan Stoltman has denied for some reason, and backed David Schurter's behavior. And he really hasn't been streaming lately. He's been pretty quiet since I called him out on that. I don't know if that has anything to do with him being gone, but he hasn't come out again really much more after making those statements. and me showing the receipt of actually being on his show. So my question is like, why the denial? Why the little, like, this entire group of people, which isn't just David Schurter. Like, for example, for some reason, a video popped up from YouTube Love Story, and Colleen Kokar's most recent video. Towards the end, she's talking about me and trying to implicate me with Nasty Troll Media in harassing her. And then at this, and on the other end, you have, Blazing Scar doing videos comparing me to, Colleen Kakar or tacos. Like, it's always this, there in drama world, in discordian chaos on the internet, there's always this thing where they want to push you as somebody else, that you're the enemy. But I'll tell you right now, I'm friends with none of those people, and every single one of those people have talked crap about me, lied about me. Let me just say, the first time that Tacos, Cats, and Colts talked about me, she was interviewing Lestat, okay, who's now with Sophia Music, but at that time he wasn't. And she was saying that I was a CIA agent with Kate Schneider. That's the first thing I ever saw her say about me, which is also made up and a lie. And she's continued to do that over and over and over again. She's never, including accusing me of running kitty POR, porn chat rooms. And trying to say that I was, had a video of Clovis's daughters. Yeah. So from my perspective of everybody in this community that runs around and say that they're predator catchers and they have these big old online infights with each other, I say that's a circus. That's a bunch of adults acting stupid. And really creating this buzz and finger pointing and actually rescuing not one child, which is a huge internet low-level buzz distraction of what might really be going on. Because if you really cared, or if you were even objective about what was happening right now politically with Trump and all the other allegations and the Epstein client list, nobody is really talking about that or focusing on uncovering a story around that. No, it's more important to talk about hoax wars and being doxxed and all this other stuff. And that is my opinion of it. I don't consider that to be harassment. I consider that to be a pretty fair analytical assessment of it. That's what I think. I would say, like, the majority of the people that are involved with this, I don't think they really like me, even if they pretend to like me. Okay? And I do think personally that it's kind of like an operation. Like, there is a string of thought behind it. It's created on purpose. Whether the people that are participating in it are in a cult mind and are doing it because they're caught up in some sort of belief system, and therefore someone like me is the enemy to that paradigm of what they think it is, or they're actually just deceitful people. They're actually gang stalkers, and I hate using that word, but they're actually like part of something else. And you know what was really interesting? I was watching this video last night, and it was showing the genesis, or it was talking about the genesis of the 17th letter of the alphabet. And it was making mention of something called microchip, or somebody microchip. And what was like the forerunner for it was teenage FBI. And guess who was part of that? Teenage FBI. Just think of the players that were part of Teenage FBI. Well, wasn't that a Frank Bacon, a Tyrone Simpson? creation. I know Denise Mattel was involved with it in the beginning. You know who told me that? You did. All seeing you. Because she was around back then too, right? Like, that's one theory. All right. I'm not saying that it's where the Genesis, you know who was showing that? You know who was showing that? It was, I remember where that came from. It came from YouTube Love Stories just recent stream because Colleen showed it in her stream. That's where I saw it. So she's sharing it. And she's also sharing, clips of my interview with Nathan Stoltman and then putting them on private after I call it out. And Nathan denies it. I mean, if you want to be, if you want to be buddies and, you think she's got something to offer you or, whatever. But for me, I want nothing to do with any of these people. If I would never be in it, I would never go into a room knowing that they were in it physically. And that's the truth. All right. On that note, I'm going to take just a little bit of a break. Hi, Raven. Hi, Paul Shields. Hi. Okay, I'm going to play another song here. And just take a little bit of a breather. This was a song that I did create for Max Spears. And I thought that what this says in this song encompasses what his message was and why I think people follow him so much. And let's start it.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines of gods in suits and laboratory dream. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. Oh, oh, oh,
All right. So speaking of David Schroeder, since I am on the topic of David Schroeder, I want to share something with you, that a video that I made recently, like I guess it was a couple of days ago. Seems like time is just spinning super fast, doesn't it? But I wanted to bring it up here for a second. It was something that Daniel Dowd covered. He was showing, a video. Darn it! Is this? What is that? He was covering. Excuse me. David Schroeder talking about us, basically. And David was doing one of his prayers where basically he was cursing us. And on the right in the video, you can see Daniel Dowd talking back at him to the video that he's playing. And there's one point where both men's faces are just grimaced, and Daniel Dowd is screaming out, you're praying to Satan. You are praying to Satan. And then after he prays, he captures his eyes and then blows it up, and there's a slit in David Schroeder's eye. And what's interesting about this, and it really happened, it's not digitally enhanced, it's actually really real. And David prays practically like on every single broadcast that he does. He goes, I'm gonna do a prayer. And yeah, David is possessed by demons. I can believe it. Raven, thank you. Thanks for keeping Max's memory alive. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. I don't know. I feel like I just keep wanting to do that for him. And I know that there is a lot of people that are searching for Max content because it seems to disappear. And he is one of those people in the UFO community that has had a death that is suspicious, that people have questions about, that we have questions that are not being answered. His laptop really was wiped. His SIM card was really ruined. And is it possible? Let me just put this out there. Is it possible that even a UFO researcher that was using stories or experiences or research from somebody else and incorporating that into his knowledge? Because really, if you look at all of this that's out there, most of it is especially within the super soldier program, is retreaded information that has come out kind of like a super soldier folklore at this point. Now, this is after Max and James. But even if you want to say that that they were just complete fantasies and grifters and not real, which is going to happen in this kind of situation whenever you have anybody disclosing something like this, where they're just usually just saying their testimony, you have to believe them. You have to believe what they say. Or maybe somebody else out there has been in some sort of like program of some sort that might have intelligence behind it because they have certain abilities or whatever. I mean, maybe they're waking up and identifying to that and searching for those answers of things that maybe they're experiencing. I might say that could be going on with a lot of people, because maybe something did happen to you. You want to hold on to that thing that you believe is actually really true. But beyond all of that is what I think, the legitimacy, the whatever, the if somebody's laptop is wiped and their SIM card is destroyed, or somebody took the time to make sure that whatever they were working on was not going to see the day of light, then is it possible that through his research he stumbled on something that somebody really did, information that they really didn't want to get out? Like, those, no matter how you talk, break it down, you really can't deny that is not a possibility. Just like it's really hard to deny like what's happening with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. It's like, what I'm finding right now is, oh, by the way, I'm getting distracted. Let me get to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff here in a second. Let me get to the point of this video. Let me show you David shape-shifting. pretty trippy, right?
Oh, this is Dr.
Is
Grande.
that is that
Today I will
is that
analyze the
not
case of...
is that not like trippy?
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.
So Poonie Twang, let me stop the share here. I watched Dr. Todd Grande. He's kind of interesting to me. I don't know. Poonie Twang says, I'm finding numerous clips of David's eyes doing that. And Pootie says, I think it's more like David's possessed by demons than David being a reptile. He has a hard time swatting flies. I think no lizard would be better at that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and just think about the whole idea of a reptile. Yeah, and a snake is a reptile. I know the other day I go, is a snake a reptile or is it an amphibian? It is a reptile. So when you look at things biblically about Eve and the apple and the snake and the seduction, makes you wonder about what the snake really represents. And also what's trippy about that is when David Schroeder is apparently praying, but just screaming and yelling, his face is grimaced. He even took the Lord's name in vain, if I can remember right, during his prayer, which is just absolutely unheard of. That someone would be praying to God and cursing at them at the same time, cursing God while cursing us. It wasn't a prayer. It was a curse. It was a wish for harm on people that are not guilty of what he's saying about them. I am not guilty of what David Schroeder is saying about me, and I'm not. Anybody who has said something like that about me has never shown a shred of proof of anything, and yet they've used YouTube to scream out and say it. And a lot of people will now, and it tends to be like the same group who wants to defend Trump and say, oh, that's the liberals doing it to him. He's actually really innocent. You should know what it feels like. Well, yeah, I do know what it feels like, but I was never friends with Jeffrey Epstein either. I mean, Trump has, that's like comparing apples to oranges. where you have an entire movement that a lot of these people that are doing this to me are associated with. Let's face it, Isaac Cappy was a major influencer in the pinnacle of the Jeffrey Epstein narrative, being that how many times has Bracket and Jackets been revamped all over the world with graphics? And there are certain people that, I don't know, they have websites and mind maps, and they are the expert of everything Isaac Cappy according to their research, and they're doing streams about the Wall Street Journal article. And what are we going to do? Are we going to really bear down and say it's more important that the Jeffrey Epstein files come out, or are we going to back Trump? Well, I guess it's when it's not politically convenient for you anymore, you're going to forget about all this other hogwash. And I'm not saying it's hogwash, but all of this other drama that someone like me has actually suffered in false accusations over. And you want to sit back and act like, oh, I might decide to just go with Trump anyways? Well, then that was your objective in the first place, wasn't it? I really wanted to get that out today because there is somebody like that. And that somebody was in my chat when I was playing Brackets and Jackets and going over it and reviewing what they're saying and saying, you know what, this person isn't really connected to Epstein. And that's a generalization, just like what David Schroeder did and does on his channel. And they told me afterwards that, oh no, that, the whole Bracket and Jackets things, he wasn't coming up there and he didn't write that. He was riffing off of what people were saying to him in the chat on Periscope. And I said, well, then why is everybody out there making their videos being made all over the world like this is verbatim what the truth is? And you guys want to sit back and act like the Epstein file doesn't matter anymore? You're going to sweep it up and act like, oh, that was just, and Epstein, that was a Democrat, that was a lefty hoax that Trump is victim of. No, I don't think so. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. Are you guys the lefties that pushed it? Because it got pushed everywhere. And now you want to act like it doesn't exist? Wow. I am not impressed at all. And on that, I think I need to take a break before I go into the next thing. Because I'm I'm saying I'm annoyed by that a lot. And we'll go with this.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines, of gods in suits and laboratory dreams. You've got to know what they won't show, and you've got to know what they won't show. He said the media would be their domain to plant the fear and the anger and hate, and a king would come and divide us in two and put our souls under his black leather boot, saying, you got to know what they won't show, and you've got to know what they won't show. He wanted a new world order, and it was hard to ignore. He called out the governments of the world, and he swore he'd take them down. Now I met this man in the late 1990s, a town hall in a place called St. Helens, in a time when we thought the war was done, when the good guys had won. You got to know what they won't show, and you got to know what they won't show.
All right, so hi, Affable Zombie. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole today. Nice to see you. Affable Zombie says, I think it's a convoluted attempt to get the media to admit the files exist. I hope so, because, I'm one of those voters that, I most of my life, I was a Democrat, all right? I mean, and I think I was a Democrat just because, really it was like my family, my immediate family were Democrats. And so sometimes when you first start voting, you vote the way your parents voted. Well, I didn't know what to do, right? And then, and for me during the Obama administration, when he voted the Monsanto Protection Act in, it was over for me. It was like, I was just like, okay, so if he can protect the rights of Monsanto, then he really doesn't care about people. And it was really disillusioning to me. And I bumped off of being an Obama supporter, and I registered as an independent. And then eventually I registered as a libertarian because somebody told me an independent was like a Republican light. I've maybe, and you know what? I have friends that are Republicans. I think I've even dated Republicans before. There are times where, I will swing on a conservative idea or agree with some of what the Republicans think. And then I also agree with what Democrats think. So I would say that I'm a moderate. I even think, like, on Not My Rabbit Hole, even this particular topic, I kind of I try to look at both sides, or I try to find the medium leverage. I am not a team player. I'm going to say that right now. When I say team player, I won't stick with my team when I know my team is corrupt, or the leader of the team, there might be something wrong with them. I will not stay on that team. I don't just cheer on the team just because I believe that that's the way it is. Maybe, you cheer somebody on because you still believe in that president, because you still believe that it's a lie. But for me, I lost it. Even everything, because there are things that Trump's been doing during this administration that I haven't agreed with. I try to be objective about it because because I am in the media, right? So if you want to talk about somebody, you're going to have to report on something. You still want to be able to look at the other side of an opinion or an angle or something like that, right? But in my gut, like how I really feel about it, or how like what something sits up with me as a human being, there are a lot of things that I haven't liked. That he has done so far in his administration. I'm just being honest. But what really took it for the cake for me was to see the influencers. Like it blows my mind. I didn't realize that Kash Patel was an influencer, was a YouTuber like me, or like anybody else, or like DeFango, or like Corey Daniel, or like anybody. He was just another one of us, really. One that really had, I mean, I know he's got like some, obviously he has some a background. I forgot exactly what it is, but he's got some sort of intelligence or military background or whatever. He's got something that gives him a little bit of clout, but he really was an influence that pushed the Jeffrey Epstein narrative. And, we witnessed him getting signed into office, taking an oath, other senators, Congress, talking about debate, saying we need these Jeffrey Epstein files released. We had a president that said, I'm going to unseal the documents. Pam Bondi goes in and says, I've got the file on my desk. I'm looking, I've got the client list on she said client list, really. No, that was a flub. I meant the file. I didn't really mean the client list specifically on my desk. And we're going to get to the bottom of this because all this time, the guilty people have been the Democrats. It's been Biden, it's been Hillary, it's been Bill Clinton, it's been Hollywood, it's been all of the people that spoke out against Trump, basically. And I'm not saying that, Clinton is innocent and Donald Trump isn't, or that Donald Trump is innocent. What I am saying is that Donald Trump might not be innocent, and so might not like Bill Clinton. And one of the things that always bothered me about Isaac Cappy was that it was all about the Democrats. And the Democrats is the only thing that embodies the deep state. As if they're the only elites that are, then we bring in all the Satanist stuff in it and everything else. Everybody, it's all about them. David Wilcock, is another big UFO researcher out there, or a new age guru, whatever. Also hopped onto the 17th letter of the alphabet gravy train and ran with these satanic pedo people. Right? Yeah, it. That's how it's been going down. That these people that have been sitting in this media has pushed that. And now we're going to sit back and go, oh, the entire thing is a hoax. It doesn't really exist. Is that where we're at right now because it didn't suit your needs? Like, it really makes me angry at, I'm like, how could you just sit back and just turn a blind eye and then flip on a dime like that? Like it's nothing. It's not fair. It's compromised. It's biased. And I literally had when I discovered about Jane Doe in 2016 that had a lawsuit against Trump that got dropped because she feared for her life when I was doing the ChatGPT. And by the way, it was accurate. And I have a conversation with somebody and they go, oh, she was 15. I go, she was 13. No 15, no 13, no 15, no 13. Like it really freaking matters, right? Shows me that there is a defense to protect Trump when he might actually be guilty of doing the same thing. That doesn't matter. You know what could possibly happen right now? Just think about this. Because it's a hoax, Ghislaine Maxwell can get a retrial or even a pardon by Trump. And then it's completely washed under the rug. And then they get away with all of it. Congratulations, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause for accomplishing that on YouTube. Show. Yeah, I told you it's good morning. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole Church. Let's pray. No, I'm kidding. I mean, look at the manipulation that David Schroeder does on his channel by bringing in spirituality, God, shamanism, and some mumbo jumbo heaven gave him the power to, bring your souls to the dark and claim them. What kind of nut talk is that? And it always astounds me to see people in his chat going, oh, yes, David. God bless you, David. Jesus loves you, David. Blah, 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 blah. And doing all this stuff. Like, you can just look at how he prays and know exactly what's happening. His eyeball shifted into a slit. Now, that's some David Schroeder shit right there, people. That's some David Icke shit. That's what I meant to say. It's some David Icke shit, people. And I feel like I kind of got, I was being super skeptical of Juliet Bryant's confession of Jeffrey Epstein shapeshifting. That I did a stream about it. I was like, why are you bringing shape-shifting stuff into this conversation? And, I did this article. Let's just share it for a second. Okay. And then within 24 hours or less than 24 hours, I witnessed David Schroeder's eye go into a slit. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe it is real. I know I've joked about it, but I'm like, what? Something is happening when somebody's eyeball, when they're so angry and they're so cursing and they're so deceptive that their eyeball goes into a slit. What is that? What is that? Okay, so I wrote this article, Reptilians, the Other White Meat, and it's a punchline to, I started doing stand-up jokes about this. I've tested it out on an audience. It's funny, so I thought, oh, what a funny title. Now, I realized, I think maybe Steamy Cambion on Truth Seekers has had the same thought as me, right? And maybe has t-shirts and stuff with this on it. But I just thought it was a good title, and I just published this yesterday. But I wrote, nestled in the vortex of mainstream media and UFO folklore is Jeffrey Epstein victim Juliet Bryant. Juliet Bryant, 43, is a South African former fashion model, businesswoman, and survivor advocate. Over the years, Bryant has transitioned from the glamour of the fashion world to roles in entrepreneurship and activism, leveraging her platform to create awareness about issues of abuse and trafficking. In 2022, she was featured in the two-part BBC docuseries House of Maxwell, which delved into the story of British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell and her involvement in the notorious sex trafficking network. The Independent reported that Jeffrey Epstein repeatedly arred her and that Bill Clinton gave the late pedophile credibility. Juliet told the Daily Beast that she met Epstein in Cape Town at the age of 20 in 2002 after being lured into his orbit by a woman who promised to help her with her modeling career. She recalled that as she arrived at the restaurant, the former president stood and shook her hand, holding on to her as he began speaking to another dinner guest. It was like a dream, said Bryant. It was so bizarre. And then the subtitle here is Lizard Epstein. And here's a drawing of her memory of what he looked like. Some of Bryant's allegations are controversial and are argued to be extreme and unverified. Bryant has claimed that she woke up naked and paralyzed in a laboratory at Epstein's Zorro Ranch, complete with hazmat suited personnel and a female doctor. The dramatic claims with Epstein's documented interest in transhumanism, but lacks any independent verification and remains unique amongst victim testimonies. I saw Jeffrey Epstein shapeshift into something else in front of my eyes, said Juliet Bryant. Bryant said Epstein's face grew big and she saw these huge black eyes during orgasm, reports Sportskeeda.com. She further elaborates that Epstein's mouth grew big with a horrible tongue, almost like a devil, with this dragon horn stuff. Somebody needs to whip out their iPhone and do a selfie when a powerful elite shapeshifts into a Draco reptile. Drawings from memory will not suffice in the current technocracy. However, Bryant's core allegations are found to be true, having won a federal lawsuit against Epstein in 2019 and received a settlement via Epstein's compensation fund. And there's something that, and I'm going to delve into this in a bit about some offshore accounts that were like, I believe it's underneath the Butterfly Fund. Anyway, I've been conversing, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, with Ed Opperman, who did a stream about it a while ago and was telling me that there were these, there's a couple of names. I'm not going to go into it tonight, but a couple people opened these $13 million trust days before Jeffrey Epstein unalivened himself. So that's kind of interesting too. I don't know. I was thinking about asking Ed Opperman if he wanted to like come on and do a live stream with me. I don't know if he'll do it, but I kind of would like to have him on my show, or Not My Rabbit Hole, and just talk about some of this stuff and some of the knowledge that he has, because he's a private investigator and he is aware of this case right here, that he verified this to me. He was a part of this. He was going to be part of this trial, or he was the private investigator on some of this. And this is the Katie Johnson trial, and I'm not going to read this right now, but I will put this in the description and the link. But my closing argument is, sadly, Epstein's shape-shifting stories dominate the mainstream and conspiratorial algorithm, while reports like Johnson's gets buried in 9 years of silence. And that was my main story about this, is that as a community, as a group of people, what is the motivation for, like, let's say some of you guys in the pet predator catcher groups, or some of you that are were part of, let's throw Titus Frost out there, all right? And Titus Frost was part of a PIZZA gate, right? In that, and there are a lot of people believe that was real and that really happened. I think I'm kind of like, I'm not closed-minded to that. Let's just put it that way. I think that it got stretched out. Just like anything that has truth to it, there will be players that will add content to it that isn't true about it, so that it looks crazy and nobody's going to believe it. And that's kind of my argument about this Juliet Bryant coming forward. She's putting an element of this that belongs in the conspiratorial world, a David Icke world, a world that a lot of us here who have been part of YouTube have been part of that narrative and that exploration. And is the conspiracy world like people go, well, that's conspiracy truth, and this and that. There may be truth in a conspiracy, like what happened with the JFK shooting, right? I think most people who we want those documents unsealed. we want to know what really happened there too. Just like, we want to know what's been going on with Jeffrey Epstein and having the client list. If there wasn't something to protect, if there wasn't people to protect, people's reputations, knowledge of an involvement with this, if there wasn't something to protect about it, then why did they have a closed trial? Why was Ghislaine Maxwell's trial closed? If there wasn't something that might have been said in that trial or given as evidence in that trial that wouldn't be incriminating to the people who were on the Lolita flight logs or maybe the supposed client list. And, right now, Trump is asking the grand jury to give people's testimonies. When he puts a subpoena to the grand jury, he's asking for their testimonies, not the evidence. That's not part of it. So he's asking for testimonies of the victims or the witnesses or whatever as being suffice for what might be on the client list. And just because those testimonies may not have that information in it, it may not be the power that, like, a real list of people who, where's the money? Like, where did the money go? Like, there's also different accounts and this and that, like funds put in here, funds put in there. Where do these funds go into? There's something, I watched a video where there was like it wasn't the Butterfly Trust, but it was like his own accounts that showed transactions of him buying art and what could be stuffed in art, right? Oh, just so it doesn't look like this is a transaction of prostitution, just buy some of my art. And that will, suffice for your payment for your great night here at my New York mansion. Or maybe it's just like funds that, and there was payments to people and payments from people that he took and put in those accounts. Is that? Yeah, I think he is. Trump is acting like a guilty man for sure. I think so, because the first thing he did after there was after giving binders to, right-wing influencers in his pocket about the Jeffrey Epstein client list of information that they had already had and had already talked about, but then promised them to give them more shortly, and then to come back and say there's absolutely nothing. And then for Trump to tell everybody, oh, you're still wondering about the Epstein things when we have all these other things happening and blah 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 blah, and what a great country we are. Okay, that was the first thing that everybody went, what do you mean are we still interested in it when you made it a part of your campaign? What do you mean are we still interested in it? I know there are people that voted for him because they believed that he was going to reveal a cabal to everybody. We believed that he was a maverick, that he wasn't one of them. And now it looks like he is one of them. That if you want to talk about controlled opposition, what is, like, think about what happened in Germany. Think about it. What did Hitler do? He scapegoated an entire race of people and did propaganda on them. So how is it different than having a president scapegoat an entire political party and then have and support propaganda about them? How is that different? I mean, maybe I am looking at this with naive eyes, but in my gut, it feels that way to me. You don't get to play on the main stage unless you're one of them. Well, that's what they say, right? And in their scripts, they always have a good guy and a bad guy. Trump played a good guy. Yes, he did play a good guy. And speaking of good guys and heroes, and an incident that after it happened, there were people out there like me, like another person or anybody else on YouTube, a YouTube journalist, an influencer, whatever you want to call everybody, a researcher, said that God saved him. And if you didn't vote for him because he was like the savior of the United States, then you were not a person of God. That's the manipulation that that happened after this event. And there's some footage. It's circulating around on YouTube, and it's kind of interesting to look at. It's weird to have the I had it already queued, I thought. Have the left be the conspiracy theorist now. It's like the tables have turned. Okay, so this is footage from the actual attempted assassination of Trump. And I'm going to share the screen here. And just watch this for a second. So pay attention to the guy right there, okay? Pay attention to that guy right there. I'm going to take myself out of this. And this is fair use. We are educating the public. This video comes from a Stranger Than Fiction on YouTube. There he is. Watch him. Wait. I don't know why. Can you see that moving? Why isn't that moving? Hold on. It's weird. We try it again. Let's go back. Okay, watch. Let me make sure that's right. Okay.
Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering it. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. Yes. 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 We love you, President Trump. No. Oh, no, he's shot. He's shot. Oh, who did it? He's shot. It could just be his ear. He's shot. It could just be his ear. He's walking. He's walking.
So what? People, that woman and this guy right here. And it's going to go over the footage again.
Who did it? Dude, that's fucking wild.
There he is over there.
Okay, stop. First thing to notice and to pay close attention to is this guy right over here. I'm pointing at him in the video. I don't know who he is. Maybe he's Trump's agent or CIA or I don't know. Special ops, Mossad, whatever the guy is. Pay attention to him because he's gonna come back. And I'm thinking that he's trying to duck and not be so noticeable. But yeah, pay attention to him, to this guy. Let's continue.
Just been shot. Oh no. No. Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering him. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you.
Okay, so the photographers come and stop. That same guy, you see, right? He's with the photographers and he's leading them and he's telling them where to take the pictures, historic pictures of Trump being shot. And notice how he's leading them. And I mean, right after the shooting, right after the president being shot, there comes some agent that has been given orders and he's leading photographers to certain spots to take pictures. And those pictures, I'll put them on the screen. I mean, President Trump with his fist, the American flag behind him, and the low angle. It's like heroic moment, bigger than life moments, you know? So you can see that he's ducking, right? Yeah, he's ducking. You can see his head at the bottom. The photographers are taking pictures and okay, stop. Yeah, and he's following them along, right? And he's grabbing them. Look at him grabbing the photographers. Look, he's telling them where to stand and what to do. I mean, it's clearly staged. Look what he's doing. Look. Wow. He's making sure everything is in the right places, you know? It's crazy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everything is fake. Really, it's unbelievable. And okay, and so he did his job and he's going somewhere in the corner to sit down. Yeah. And another thing to notice, look at this crane. You see this crane, right? And is it me? Am I the only one who thinks that this crane has lowered the American flag when the pictures were taken? Am I the only one seeing this? I can't be, right? Yeah. It's lunacy. It's so fake. It's so disgusting. It's so vile. It's so disgusting. I just can't believe it. There was an innocent man who died, right? And I'm thinking if all these people are like paid actors, you know, if all this crowd, if they're on the gig, you know, I know the man has died, the firefighter, but yeah, it's just disgusting, and no one paid attention to the dead guy, right? Look at
What
this.
if it is just, it's all staged? Like this is Wag the Dog, right? That movie. Like, what is happening? This is pretty much trending right now. It's on TikTok. I'm seeing it. I noticed somebody sharing it on X today. Like it's going around where people are questioning what exactly is happening here. So anyway, I want to give you. I'll make sure that please subscribe to my Substack. You can just put your email in and then you'll get the notifications. I will, I'm obviously, I'm going to be writing about things that pertain to things that I talk about on Not My Rabbit Hole, but just other things as well. And they've got a podcasting. I can do videos over there. It's just going to be another platform that I'm going to be on besides YouTube. So come and support me there. Those of you who did show up for today, I'm probably, I just came on to do like a quick rant and just kind of share some thoughts that I have on things. Oh, another point that I'd like to share with you is, well, first of all, like on all of my, if you go to Not My Rabbit Hole on the About and on my main page, there are a bunch of links that you can follow me on. My Substack. If you want to buy me coffee, I'm at buymecoffee.com/Terry Joyce. Please do give this video a like or a share if you're so inclined. That really supports the channel. And of course, I do accept super chats and things like this. I know that this is like, I feel like I have friends or even people that are regular here on Not My Rabbit Hole that do not see this the way that I do, but I can't help but be one of those kind of people that goes, oh, but wait, look over here. Because for me, as a person, in having been in the conspiracy UFO media, or what we call the truth media, to actually starting to work in the mainstream media, and being an overall media person, although I feel like I might have some insight in this bridge between these two worlds. And a lot of the narratives, the only reason why I swung in the direction of what would be considered the right is because of the child trafficking, those stories, that belief that the world was this corrupt. And here there was this Lolita flight log, and the Epstein's relationship to the Bill Clintons, and the Terra Mar project, because I did a show about the Terra Mar project and Ghislaine Maxwell's involvement with it, and the Clinton Foundation's connection, Ghislaine Maxwell being at the Clintons party. And we have stories like Kathy O'Brien that explains things that happened with the Clintons in her narrative. And like all of this stuff has been very much a part of what we're talking about. People like Carrie Cassidy pushing the 17th letter of the alphabet, and people that are in the UFO community, like let's say Simon Parks out there calling Trump his president and pushing these particular narratives, like reptilians, like satanic ritual abuse, and all this stuff, right? All these people pushing this narrative in this media that I was a part of, that I believed a lot of it, that going down. Even things that Max Spears was saying falls in line with James Casbolt falls in line to what later on came down the pike of what we saw play out before us. And to be okay with Trump at this point in time, after everything we're going through, say it's a left-wing hoax, is really sad, and it looks like, to me, it's like those criminals when they're getting investigated, interrogated by the sheriff or the police, because they're under suspicion of murdering their wife, and you see that person lie the way they do and make up the most ridiculous things and change their story over and over again. That is what I think Trump is doing right now with the Jeffrey Epstein client list. And I live in America, and so far, I have a right to voice that opinion. And also, you have a David Schroeder that is saying that someone like me or Daniel Dowd or whomever else he wants to point a finger to, whoever's growing list that he has of people that are responsible for the death of Isaac Cappy, and think about what exactly Isaac Cappy was doing. Well, President Trump's almost making what Isaac Cappy did null and void. So if that's the case, then that even makes David Schroeder look even more ridiculous. And on that note, I think I'm going to say goodbye. Until next time, have a great time. God bless.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights.